Your personal brand isn't just a logo, a tagline, or a clever marketing hook. It's who you are at your core. It's how you think, it's how you make decisions, and it's how you show up in the world, both personally and professionally. And building a brand isn't just about a strategy, it's about alignment. And that requires something much deeper: self-awareness, resilience, and the willingness to grow and evolve. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a guru, but I am a builder. I've built 2 very successful businesses, worked through failure, I faced my own demons, and I'm still in the process. I'm still refining, I'm still evolving. So each week on the Branding Lab, I'm going to break down the lessons, the insights, and raw truths that shape not just great businesses, but great leaders. In this roughly 10 to 15 minute monologue, I'm going to share the stories and the insights of my own experience and the deep conversations with CEOs, founders, and thought leaders from all over the world. We're going to uncover the patterns, the decisions, and the shifts that separate those who grow from those who stay stuck. Because here's the honest truth: if you're not evolving, neither is your brand. So Okay, 41% of my email newsletter list, or my email contact list that I send out a weekly newsletter to, opens up my message. And that's pretty good because industry standards are considerably lower than that. But that also means that 59% of my audience didn't open it. And when I say didn't open it, they didn't even check it. Like I can look at the data. I can see where it sits. It's still on your inbox. Yeah, it's a bit sort of invasive, but hey, it's the nature of the beast, and it's data that I have access to, and you could too. But anyhow, the data shows me that 59% of my audience doesn't even bother to open the message. And I just struggle with that because it's not a big audience. It's a well-curated audience. These are people who I have worked with over the years and know well and have spent a lot of time around, and whether in photography or business or just collaborations, et cetera, and through my podcast. So it's an organic database. But again, 59% of my audience isn't reading my message. And so I really stopped a while back to start thinking about how do we approach messaging. And first of all, before how do we approach messaging, why exactly is 59% of my audience not opening it? And so I started looking at myself as my audience. How would I react to my audience? And while the newsletter is pretty damn good, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a hybrid mix of personal and professional, and philosophy, and how to live your best life, and just really cool insights and tips. And it's pretty good if I don't say so myself. But one of the things that I think is really at the root of communication right now is that it's just so much information and so much communication all day long. Emails blasting into our inbox, social media, checking multiple channels, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever else is your predilection. You've got people sending you messages, DMs, text messages, your family, your friends, your wife, your children. It's just like you got websites on, you have television on, you got ESPN down here and the stock market up here. And it's like, bro, it's just so much information. And I think people are just overstimulated and potentially under impacted. And that's a whole separate conversation, because there's a lot of different things neurologically that are going on right now in people's brains that are not a good conversation starter and worth considering. But again, I'm not going to go down that channel just yet, at least not on this video. So in my work with other people, I'm seeing the exact same thing. So it's not just unique to me. From the clients that I work with to the people I collaborate with, they're all sort of complaining about the same thing. A, there's too much information. And B, they're not really spending time to read most things that are coming through. They're very specific about what they read, and no one's reading anything that they're putting out. So it's like, it stands to reason that we should probably take an analysis of this. And I did that for you. So one of the things that, and I'm not saying this is the end all answer, because again, this is my particular approach. Find your own. There are a lot of different people and experts that will tell you something completely different. And I don't think that there is one solution that works. I think there is a hybridization of something that works for you and your audience. And it's up to you to figure that out. I can help you with that, by the way. And we'll talk about that in a second in my shameless plug at the end. But here's what I've sort of figured out that works better for me right now. I write less often. I don't oversaturate my airwaves. I'm very, very specific about what I say. I'm always trying to be a little bit insightful, a little bit provocative, a little bit candid. I always try to take a unique position on something. And I use my own voice. I mean, here I am showing up on video. And this is not the most convenient way to do things. I could just, do nothing. But I've chosen to, I personally feel that I have a moral obligation to share because I find people that appreciate my insights and my thought leadership, and so I feel like if somebody likes it, there's other people that will, and we have an obligation to share that. And I feel the same thing about you. If you have a gift, if you have a message, if you have something educational, something inspirational that can make the world a better place or your clients better, you have an obligation to share that, and you should start doing that. Again, I digress. I write less often. I use my own voice. I'm very, very specific about what I say and very strategic about how I post. I try to make it relatively aesthetically pleasing. I like to use hooks. I like to tell stories. I like to drop problems in my communication. And I always like to have conversations with people. I don't want to lecture at you. Again, I don't know that I have the best answers. I have answers that seem to work for me and my clients, and I'm starting to figure out things. And the cool thing about it is I'm a very curious individual, so I'm always expanding and always learning. And one of the things I noticed is that early on in my newsletter, after I'd been doing it for a while, not a lot of people were opening it, and I wanted to know why. And so I dove into the data and I sort of dove into the strategy, and now I feel like I'm doing pretty well and making traction with it. But it's an iterative process. It's never one and done. Like, you have to stay on top of it all the time. So here is my shameless plug back to that. If you are struggling with your audience or anybody reading your message, whether it's conversions on your website, paid advertising, your social media, or you just don't really know what to say or how to say it, let's talk. Drop me a message, either DM here or go to my website, thebrandstoryteller.com, because I have programs and one-on-one coaching programs as well, do-it-yourself programs, where you can sort of really dive into what your messaging sounds like, your purpose, your North Star, your trajectory, all the different things, so that you can start sharing whatever morsels of wisdom that you have inside that noggin of yours. So anyhow, I'm here to help. I truly mean that. Hit me up. Let's talk. I'll see you on the other side.